actually be something that returns to top lane for us here in LCK.
I mean, Marin especially will hope that is the case over in the LPL, and there are a couple of Lissandra top players here. I'm more of a skeptic. I think it's a pick that very much can be dealt with. It's one of the few top laners that you built QSS against previously, that you still build QSS against, and can have a lot of power after the changes on previous patches. So, not going to be a believer in top lane Lissandra until we see more of it, but we're already into picks and bans. Aurelia on the ban list, no sign of Shen just yet.
Yep. The Nidalee and Varus taken away here from the side of Longzhu. Need to keep that Varus out of Ian's hands. He has been playing a good amount of it. Rise, the final here from MVP, and this is it. Is it going to be the Shen? And it will be from Longzhu. First comes over, it's going to be the Rek'Sai for Beyond.
And Beyond has shown a lot on lots of the playmaking junglers. His Rek'Sai is definitely capable. Got a win in his last series out against CJ Entus with the Rek'Sai, but it's basically the priority jungler with specifically Nidalee off the board, and to a lesser extent the Elise. Interesting to see Elise banned on blue side.
Oh, well, here we go. I was going to say a lot of things made it through. Azir was one of the ones that came to mind for Coco, but once the Vladimir instead, and a very early draft of the Jhin for Fury.
I think the Jhin priority will increase even further. We already saw it being a staple of pick comps on 6-11, on 6-12. With the changes to a lot of the items, the Jhin build that we saw from before loses 5 AD on the Yoma's Ghostwave, but gains 5 AD on the last Whisper upgrade, and of course that has been the staple build, stacking armor penetration, serrated Dirk items into the earlier Lord Dominic's Regard or Mortal Reminder, so you eventually will gain AD in the build.
It'll be 10 for that, actually. It was the 5 AD addition
but you
to
see,
the...
you lost 5 from Yoma's, you gained 10 from the
I see what you're...
last Whisper, so overall it's a 5 AD swing. But speaking of swings, we see some picks from MVP. They're going to go back to the Sivir, and this has kind of been the story, is that, again, I had the queries about Ian and Maha. Maha in particular, very poor in the promotion series, but he's been on utility carries. His last 7 champion picks have been Sivir or Ashe. The Sivir has the most utility. It is a no-escape champion, but with the spell shield, it's a bit safer. You fight with your tank line. Makes a lot of sense for MVP to prioritize the Sivir to get away from any of the individual disadvantages they might have with a different AD carry for Maha.
Yep. Also allows for them to get onto that back line, get on top of Fury with this very immobile AD carry, and try to burst him down. Right now, you see Longzhu looking to take away that second AoE movement speed champion with the Karma, so could just have that one snatched up for the support role, but now thinking about this Thresh, and it will be locked in, and it looks like Gragas will be our jungler as well.
So they're rolling the dice. This does mean there's definitely a world where Coco will really struggle to get into the back line. If you're against Sivir Karma with Trundle on the side, find it very difficult to see a team fight where Coco will actually be able to close the distance on Vladimir, even if he goes Ghost Flash. And with the quintessential mid lane matchup available in terms of counter picks so far in Korea, we've seen a lot of Anivia into Vlad picks. Worth knowing that Coco was able to beat Crown's Anivia pick with this Vladimir. If you play aggressive enough early, you can get away with it, but there's the choice of mid laners. Ian had a very impressive 8-0-2 carry performance on LeBlanc last time out. I'm not the biggest fan of the lane matchup, but for now, they are considering the LeBlanc.
Are thinking about it. In this circumstance, do you think that you go for the Ignite if you're Ian with that? Or do you go for the TP? Well, I guess
you
it
just
doesn't
don't
matter.
go for the LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's just going to be the Anivia coming in, so looking to kite out that Vladimir, wall him off, stop him from getting into the back line, dropping that Hemo Plague on multiple members, and Braum for Max will be our support with Sivir. So just a strong bot lane, and now we have to figure out what our top lane matchup is going to be. Trundle for the side of MVP, and now Longzhu going to be thinking about what they want to bring out here. Could be the Rumble. Talked about it earlier.
It could definitely be the Rumble. Trace is another legacy Rumble player that I expect to start adding this to his pool. No guarantees on it. Expression's definitely more of a Fiora player than a Rumble player. And you look at MVP's comp, it has so many answers to the Vladimir in particular. I already outlined the Trundle and the Sivir and the movement speed available, but Anivia has, both in lane and in team fights, the wall and slows to stop the Vlad from ever closing distance. I think MVP has basically the perfect team fighting draft, and Longzhu need to add a win condition. Fiora split push would definitely do that. There is that chance that you're able to snipe away the Anivia and punish it. They're just cycling through picks. They'll go with the Gnar. That has certainly flattered to deceive in Korea especially. We've seen plenty of international teams playing the Gnar versus Trundle matchup, running over lane, running over game. The only one in Korea who's been able to do it was Duke, who went Frozen Mallet Rush and did dominate a Gnar. Expression, let's see if his Gnar is up to par, because even though it's a counter matchup, it's almost like a soft counter because it's honestly more on the jungle skirmishing. If Beyond ganks for the lane, the Gnar gets behind, buys a phage against a completed defensive item from Trundle, there's a chance that the Gnar never gets into the lane. But if you ward for the Gnar, if you allow the Gnar to get a big early lead, you can definitely run over the Trundle.
Yeah, we've seen both sides of it. The ones that really command and the ones that fall flat, flashing in.
It doesn't go
not
even.
Hitting
it's
the
one
ultimate.
way or the other with this lane.
It's always going to be garbage or majestic. Which is it going to be, Expression?
Is that how you rate things, garbage to majestic?
Yes. That is my scale.
So Casablanca, majestic. What's garbage?
Vampires suck.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good call.
God, that movie is just one of the worst things that has ever happened to humanity.
This is the jungle choice from Chaser, something a little bit different for him, but I really like the draft from MVP. It's very reliable. It doesn't require on too many variables. It has answers in team fights. It has answers in lanes outside the top lane. So, and they got a lot of good tools here, MVP, to continue that win streak and make it 5 in a row.
We'll see if they're able to do it, or if Longzhu can stop the loss streak, find their way back into the standings and try to climb up a little bit in 7th place. Not where you want to be. Let's see if they can do it and get into game 1. All right, here we go. It's going to be a Cloud Drake. Hooray! Kicking things off. Wouldn't be a piggyback broadcast without a Cloud Drake.
It's true. I mean, the clouds definitely come out when we broadcast together, Achilles. I think we have unreasonable amount of clouds.
It's been pretty sunny out recently. Actually, yesterday was
It was a beautiful day.
a very gorgeous day.
So we spent it inside playing other games.
We had a barbecue yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. We played many more games than barbecued.
It was like a 3-hour barbecue.
It was a work barbecue, also Expression.
Well, it was a pretty good one. Expression, though, going to get jumped on. The sun will come through. He gets chomped, and one last smack from the Trundle will take him down. So remember what we were talking about, garbage or majestic? I think we're starting to lean towards the former a little bit here for Expression. Really rough start to things here for that Gnar.
It's just level 1. Gnar can skill the hop or the bounce at level 2 and have some semblance of an escape, but not ideal that ADD picked up the kill score. We'll go back. It's going to be a long sword, so he's definitely going to try and go for the Tiamat first, which does have an element of risk, but it's a more satisfying buy than a Ruby Crystal to be true, but we'll see how the lane matchup goes. Flash down's not ideal, but it's a trade of a flash, so outside chance that we'll see the top lane still go as expected. Expression should have lane control over the Gnar.
We'll find out. Both flashes being used by ADD and Beyond, so that will take a little bit away from the gank pressure for that Rek'Sai. Can't get the flash on Burrows for a little bit of time, so we'll allow him to stick in the jungle and farm up for a bit longer than we normally would see.
Let's see how Coco does once again on the Vladimir versus Anivia matchup. Last time, when he did really well against Crown in that Samsung victory, it was Rush of Spirit Visage, and they just ended up winning trades straight up against the Anivia. Went super aggressive with his Ghost and Flash, so did show that there is a path in this lane to victory.
I'm ready for the Proto Belt. Let me see it. You can also see it on the Gragas. We're talking about
a lot of damage.
Monty, but yeah, Max getting engaged on the Ignite tick. He'll take one more shot, but heal used by Maha will help keep him alive. But some really good early aggression there from the side of Longzhu.
First game on 6-12. Not so many changes so far, but it was a pretty soft patch in terms of champion changes. Corki was one of the big benefactors, so...
Yeah, that's true. We're not sure if we'll see him come back out anytime soon.
Someone will try him.
It's a bit of an option there for teams if they want to try playing him again.
The caster AD carries, like someone like Pilot, I think, will definitely try to work in the Corki into the lineup, but not for this first series, to be true. Item changes, I don't think they're that significant, because the big one is Infinity Edge, hasn't seen love for a long time.
Oh, Max taking a bunch of damage. The play comes through, trying to get those stacks in onto Pure. He will have to back off yet again. Taking that last potion will regen him up a little bit, but has to wait for that wave to come really far forward into the turret to try to get those relic shield charges up. Gonna be flash forward from Fury. The W gonna go really wide. So aggressive play, just not well executed. He's gonna have a flash down. We saw Beyond hovering in the brush right there. Not coming in, but says, you know what? I'll just make another visit after I take down these trucks.
He's very much looking for a counter gank. He might have information there is a ward in the tri-brush. That means that the gank attempt will probably be unsuccessful. You can see for now, he once again is cheating around that ward, but doesn't want to enter. Bard has recalled, so it's just Maha, but again, Beyond just providing coverage for his bot lane.
Yeah, I'm just making sure they don't want to go in for any really aggressive dives, but with Flash and Heal down on the side of that Jhin, definitely not something you want to do with just 2 members of your party in the area. ADD though, we can see him getting shoved into lane, but with that longsword, last hitting these minions is pretty much a non-factor for him. He's able to pick up most of those and now has a 10 CS lead over top of that Gnar.
Shy was cheered for last hitting on Trundle in his grand return for CJ Entus. We don't have a crowd here today, so we don't know if ADD was cheered. I'm going to guess no.
We have a guy.
We have a stream, man.
I mean, he could be a crowd, I guess.
That's true.
He just yells loud enough.
A crowd of one.
A crowd of one.
We don't need a crowd. We're excited just for some sick 6-12 League of Legends.
There we are. I'm just excited for MVP to continue their win streak. I mean, Longzhu turning things around would certainly be nice to see, keep the league very competitive, but MVP now with this getting close to meteoric rise up from where they started. It's always fun to watch. These teams that you thought were down and out coming back in.
MVP has shown a lot, both in terms of team play, which I think has been surprisingly good, and some individual play. Beyond really does look like, you know, you would have said comfortably at the start of the season he'd be threatening top 5 jungler in the league. You know, there is 10, so maybe top half, but threatening top 3 at this point with some really impressive performances. Looking for a wraparound around bot side. Remember, Fury Flash in front of Beyond.
Yeah, well, here comes Beyond. The play comes through from Max. Looks like they're going to get jumped straight onto Fury. Gets the concussive blows with the knock-up out of the end. Bro, TP's coming through as well. Looks like they're going to go ahead and cancel those ones out, so the top laner's not going to be joining us. But another kill picked up for MVP, making moves on that bottom side, capitalizing on that flashless Jhin. Come up with a second kill.
So the big story here is how smart Beyond is. He's smart to wrap around. They know Fury doesn't have flash, but Pure reads this. He's like, okay, I can flash throw out Lantern. So he actually interrupts the Lantern toss with his own flash on Burrow. Once again, Beyond, he has this ability to read the play better than other junglers. In fact, better than many junglers outside of Bengi and, of course, Cacao when he was in this league. Reading the plays really well, and his team profits from it. Now 2-0 up. Obviously, the gold lead's not massive. The first kill was a level 1 kill, but it also means that just the fact that Beyond can find a lot of time to gank bot instead of babysitting a bad matchup in top lets you know how important the level 1 kill was in opening up Beyond to impact lanes other than the bad matchup for Trundle.
Yep, and that's going to be a kill now onto Maha, helping him out. We can see double Dorans with the Caulfield's Warhammer in over top of that double longsword for Fury, who's going to be looking for that Dirk on the next back, but delaying that as much as they can. It's going to be a good look here for MVP. So ADD can get some armor in, become a very tanky Trundle. Hasn't gone back yet, neither has Expression. So we'll see which way he wants to go, whether it's going to be the Frozen Mallet or just straight to the Black Cleaver. But now Beyond roaming up top. I think he spotted that with the Trevor Sense. Definitely sees it now as Chaser's roaming in. They'll stay safe. Body slam in here. Beyond just going to waddle his way out. Chaser's still trying to hit
build rage here.
Yeah, he's going to try to. Throws that one out, but flashes away immediately. Does have that Gnar ultimate available. If he can just get the transformation, doesn't matter. Chaser goes in. Now here comes Expression, ready to turn into that Mega Gnar. They should be able to die for this one with relative ease. One more attack. The stun's not going to connect. Chaser's going to have to go deep. Body slam whiffs. The barrel not going to connect, and ADD just walks his way to victory. Now Ian on the roam up, looking for Chaser, flashes the wall. There it is. Picks up the kill, will equalize it in a 1-1, but wow, what a botched dive by Longzhu.
Well, Rox Tigers did the same thing a couple of days ago, and apparently Longzhu thought anything you guys can do, we can do better. And by better, I mean that was really terrible from Chaser in particular. Now, not trivial to hit those skill shots, but it's nice prediction. So the reason why this is interesting is that Chaser realizes that Expression's at half rage, and they can kill Beyond. There's good base values on the damage from the Gragas. So they just take him out, but hilariously, the fact that Expression transforms is what really counts against him. He doesn't have that last auto attack, so he doesn't finish the hyper. And then Chaser goes for one of those outstanding Gragas plays where
trying to get the fade away on the barrel.
And then he has no mana. So Ian, flash and ult. You have to hit that ult pretty precisely now that the AoE range is smaller for the Anivia, but that's definitely one to affect the morale for Longzhu.
It's definitely one to forget for the rest of your life and pretend like it never happened.
I'm pretty sure that clip's not going anywhere. It's on the internet now.
Yep.
It's internet official.
It's eternal. Oh, the spirit of bubbling will live on forever.
One of the most famous Oceanic League of Legends clips, in fact, is, as we see Max down bot lane.
Yeah, Max going aggressive. Here comes Beyond over the wall. We'll get the pop up on the Pure straight into the concussive blows. The heal comes out, but the Ignite's there to match. Maha with one last auto attack will take him down, but here comes the curtain call. Max is going to go ahead, throws out the Glacial Fissure. Nicely done. We'll interrupt that one. And they are going to find another kill. MVP. Nicely played on the bottom side.
I mean, it's just great jungle pathing again. Even though Fury had flash available, Pure did not. They blew Fury's flash, then tunneled on the Pure, who didn't have flash available. Nice walk-up cancel by Max, and Beyond picks the lanes. They pull it off. Chaser picks the lanes, and we saw the result. And we're just seeing a gulf between these two teams that no one could have predicted at the onset of the season.
Yep. Very cheeky there from Max. I thought he was just going to body block, but I think he acknowledged that even with the 4 hits, he might have been able to get killed, so decides to just Reinhardt ultimate the high noon McCree.
I didn't get to, I like what you did there, but I didn't get to finish my story of the most infamous Oceanic League of Legends clip being of Minky Whale, now coach of Legacy, ganking as Gragas in bot lane, missing every ability and dying. It's really funny clip if you find it.
I'll have to check
Look
that
up
one
Minky
out.
Whale Gragas or Oceanic Gragas and you'll find it.
All right. Glad you're here, because I don't know any of these names, admittedly. Ian, though, looking like he's going to get beat on by Chaser. Nicely stunned. Big wall comes through, forces out the flash from the Gragas, and Chaser just has to back off. Really well played there by Ian, keeping himself alive.
I think Chaser needs to stay in the jungle. Just clear camps, get tanky. The gank's really not working out. He's gone Runeglaive as well. As far as I can tell on our screen, it is a small screen. I believe it's Runeglaive. So
Yeah, it looks like he has.
that means you can't take as many turret shots, Chaser.
Yep. Special, trying to get aggressive, goes into that Mega Gnar form, but ADD has just been keeping himself pretty safe. Double Swifties for the top laners, with the Tiamat already completed here for the Trundle. And looks like it will be a Phage coming out for Expression.
One thing I want to note is that Gragas had flash up, and Nivea did not, because of course flash to kill Gragas in top lane, and yet they couldn't pull off that gank. It looked like a pretty easy gank from Chaser's side, so that lets you know that unfortunately the mechanics from today, on this Gragas in particular, have eluded Chaser.
Yeah. Now the BF sword completed from Maha. Fury still a ways away, and ADD is just not afraid. Keep going aggressive. Meanwhile, the bot side, speaking of aggressive, the box comes down. Maha taking a bunch of damage to the cask. Gonna get spell shielded out, but the barrel is able to finish him off. The TP now being completed by Ian as he arrived. They will find a kill onto Pure, but the curtain call's there. They're firing shots into Ian.
Smashing
Takes a bunch
almost
of damage.
Mega Gnar.
Nice wall, trying to keep Expression away, but they're right next to that one. They could lock him down. Fury comes in with the W, takes out 2, finding the double kill onto ADD and Beyond. Nicely played by Longzhu. Good execution. They come out on top.
Even though MVP channeled both their teleports first, Coco had ghosted to bot to be there. Maha died first, so Beyond was waiting for the counter gank. Had to wait too long, was baited in, and Maha died. So it ends up being a big one trade by Longzhu and that first Drake. That might actually steady the ship for Longzhu, which certainly was looking haphazard after Gragas' 2 failed turret dives. We're seeing the replay. Maha takes too much damage, so by the time Beyond gets in, Maha's dead. Nice spell shield, honestly, on the Gragas cask, but the regular barrel does it. And even though MVP are in position, Gnar comes with the appropriate rage bar. Fury's free hitting, taking no damage in the backline. And Gnar managed to zone both Anivia and Braum on the bot side, which means they just cheat top, get a double kill, get a Drake. Nice stuff from Longzhu.
Yeah, very nice. That's going to be a big pickup there for the side of Fury. We can see the Youmuu's Ghost Blade's been completed by him as he pops it to get back down to that bottom lane.
With that roam, or forced roam for Ian, the item timing starts to hurt a little bit. Yeah. Tier, Catalyst, the blasting one, but of course 100 extra gold for that Rod of Ages may have been the difference, but it's still not completed, and Spirit Visage is done on Vlad, so these trades will definitely be going very nicely for Coco in the mid lane.
Yep. Ian still looking for the Rod of Ages. That's stacking up. Should have the gold for it pretty soon if he doesn't already for that completion. Of course, cost did go up by about 100.
Yeah, I mentioned that. And it's just a back timing issue as well for the side of Coco. So for Ian, he has to find time to return to the base. Doesn't have teleport either.
And for ADD looks like he's going to be going straight in for Iceborne Gauntlet, has the Glacial Shroud in the inventory.
I don't know if he will full-on rush that item. Frozen Heart does a bit of work against it, but not that much because of Jin, of course, not interacting with attack speed much. They're looking on to Chaser.
Yeah, Beyond's coming in. That's going to be on the hunt. Pops. Max tries to get there, but the nice Lantern over the wall from Pure will keep the Gragas safe. Says, you're not dying this time, my friend.
Ian showing good performance on the Anivia in the mid lane. ADD could be rushing the Iceborne goal. I think he needs a bit of health to be able to fight these team fights against Runeglaive, Gragas, and of course the Vladimir. So don't know if he'll go straight for that Iceborne Gauntlet or just turn into other resists first.
Well, Beyond looking like he wants to go pretty aggressive into the jungle. Starts up this blue buff. Chaser is there. So might just have to give this one over. Big hit comes through from Fury. Does he get the root in onto Maha? Couldn't really tell. Either way, chunks him down a little bit.
The timing on the roam was actually pretty good from Beyond and Max. Ian's been able to shove Vladimir in the mid lane, and they had some semblance of lane control in bot, so that was a good time to contest. Didn't feel it was safe enough. They pulled away, which is fine, but MVP were able to do this pretty impressively against CJ. Once they get a lead in the mid game, which they don't have right now, but obviously they will gain soon, they're very good at furthering their advantage by contesting enemy red buff, contesting enemy blue buff, ensuring there are no free camps for the enemy, which if you know you're ahead or if you know your relative position in a game is the next step towards growing a lead, which a lot of teams struggle to do, whether they're new to Champions or whether they've been in this league for multiple seasons.
Yeah. So far now, top lane matchup starting to go the way of Expansion, who's able to lay down that damage, has the page for the trading, and has netted himself a little bit of a lead. It's going to be the Void Rush here, straight into a box from Beyond. Tunnels out immediately, the Juicer's there with the body slam to follow up. Max not in a position to really try to protect him. Hook comes through on the Maha. Beyond going to tunnel over, get himself out of that curtain call. He's going to retreat up that bottom lane. Looks like he might be able to make it to the tower, but Chaser's here hot on his heels. I don't think enough time has transpired for him to get an execute. Chaser's still on the hunt, flashes forward. Does he actually get it? Coco finds the kill.
Actually, the flash canceled the auto attack from Gragas, so he got no kill involvement whatsoever. It just went to Vlad. Ian, free auto attacking this whole time. They got bot lane turret in all the commotion and get most of the damage onto mid lane turret just for the enemy jungler being taken out. That's actually overall a win for MVP.
Yeah, very big one at that. Just a couple more pushes from Ian in that mid side. He'll be able to take down the tower. You can see Coco just trying to clear that out as best as he can. Yeah, Chaser though coming in over the wall is going to get the slow out with the barrel. Stuns immediately from Ian. Wall comes through, but it doesn't matter. Flayed in the egg's going to get popped, and he's going to go down. Nice little turnaround here from Longzhu. They will find themselves with a kill lead. Goal lead not quite going to be there yet, but it's going to be damn close.
That was either a next level play from Coco or very fortuitous timing. He used his pull to wave clear the minions. So of course Anivia walks up because no one ever uses Vladimir's only escape to wave clear. But of course it was exactly the same time Chaser and Pure had roamed to mid. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say next level baiting tactics from Coco. Force the Anivia or just encourage the Anivia to walk up, and it was great gank timing by Chaser and Pure regardless. This game is starting to swing towards Longzhu after a really dominant first 10-15 minutes for MVP.
Yeah, big worry is going to be those carries in Coco, and now Fury, who's got 2 kills and assists for himself. Yomu's completed, and you can see the BF sword in the inventory as well.
Top lane.
So, but yeah, big group up coming in. Maha and Max playing fairly far back though, especially building up that Gnar bar. Has flash available, but not really in a comfortable range to go in and try to make a big play.
I see Jin revealing himself in top lane, which I think will show to both sides that 4v4 or more action could occur. MVP are the only team that are able to rotate 5 members to the top lane because they have double teleport. Coco could ghost up shortly, but doesn't have ghost quite yet.
Max clearing out that ward. Beyond's hovering in the area, but still not able to find a way in. I don't see Chaser, assuming he's going back into the jungle, and that's going to be a blue buff now handed over to Ian, so he can continue trying to pressure out Coco on this Vlad, but still been rough so far. Down 19 CS.
Special Chaser on has Black Cleaver completed, so it's gone the most offensive of choices, less health, and thus basically no defensive stats outside of a smattering of health on the Black Cleaver build, but it does crush lane even better. To get value out of that, you need to ward from, so we'll see if we do that. But even before...
Oh, wow, big chunk coming in onto ADD. Expression trying to chase that one out. Chaser cutting him off through that tri-brush as well. Now Maha and Max roaming down from up top. Going to be matched by Pure and Fury.
They want to punish here and take the mid lane turret.
Not sure if they're going to be able to get onto that one. All of Longzhu pinching in from the bottom, abandoning that dragon, trying to hold on to that mid lane objective.
He's been able to stain up pretty well, so wasn't effectively chunked out by Expression. We could see 5v5 action, but for now, Maha seems to be channeling his back, and Expression's also taking a minion wave, so not going to be an Ocean Drake just yet.
Jason just trying to get the pressure down. That's going to be the curtain call pulled out as ADD takes a bunch of these shots. They don't want him available for that dragon take. All four will connect. Minions, of course, dying in the mid side will allow him to sustain back up, but he's still just about 55% with the dragon starting up. Looks like Longzhu will be able to claim this for themselves. Second dragon taken away. Beyond goes in way too late, but he can smite. Throws down the chilling onto Chaser, but still cannot find the play, and he's just going to void rush out to the other side of the wall.
Yeah, the percentage play for MVP here is to push mid lane. They have a very low outer turret. This will open up some really good options for them. Yep, they're going to chunk it out.
Yep. Trying to get on this one. The turn will go down. Meanwhile, ADD's been completely segregated on the other side. The box comes down, slowing him up. He has to flash. The W will not connect. Throws down the pillar, and that should be enough to disengage MVP. So they lose the Ocean Drake, but they will be able to get that tier 1 in mid, which helps them open up the map.
The last few skirmish choices have been uncharacteristically off by MVP, specifically beyond some of his Rek'Sai ultimates. Some of his engages have been either too slow or overly aggressive, and while he made the last play work, when they ended up picking multiple turrets, or almost multiple turrets, in exchange for his death, it hasn't been the MVP that both started this game and beyond's performance been dipping a little bit. And Chaser, after a very embarrassing first few engages, has stepped it up. He has been picking up the kills, which isn't necessarily ideal kill distribution, but he's been there and he's been effective, and he hasn't let a wayward first few minutes impact the rest of the game.
Yep. Now with that Ocean Drake's really going to help them out in sieging. Just move forward, get chipped down, back off, regen up. MVP, though, grouping up into this top side, might be looking for a play onto the tier 1 tower in a bit. Expression's hovering around that area. So they do have the fast track on it. With Maha there with that Essence Reaver and the Zeal in the inventory, they will be able to chunk down that turret very quickly. So that's going to give them another tower advantage.
But these lane assignments are actually really good for MVP. You look at them, you're like, okay, they're trading turrets. But remember, one top laner has built to dominate lane, the other has built for team fights, and they're going equal. So Gnar isn't able to wail away on the Trundle with no real recourse for the Trundle. The objectives overall, MVP got the first turret, they ended up trading. So trading is good when both top laners are being denied and one is built specifically for lane.
Proto Belt now completed here for Coco. So we can expect some very explosive entrances into these fights, trying to get onto the back line and work down Maha as best as he can. Whether or not that's going to happen, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, it's been pretty good for the Vladimir with a 1-0 and 3 score line.
Honestly, when it's a Sivir comp, the backline's probably going to be more Anivia than the Sivir. Sivir's usually fighting with someone like the Trundle or the Rek'Sai. So many frontliners. Anivia, the true backliner for MVP, is very likely to get a 5-man Hemoplague if MVP opt into a 5-man fight. They have opportunities to disengage, but very much going to be grouped as 5.
Oh boy. Max going up here will get grabbed up straight into the curtain call. Chaser's there, trying to capitalize. Glacial Fisher gets thrown out, and they're trying to get onto Pure, who goes over the wall, flashed away by Chaser as well. This could be a fight for MVP. Ian comes through, is not able to get the flash freeze yet. Finally finds it, takes him down. That's going to be a kill picked up here for MVP. Now going on to Fury, ADD going to go ahead, pop the Subjugate, but they can't pursue any further. So despite getting caught out in their own jungle, MVP come away with the only kill.
Yeah, but the thing about getting caught out in your own jungle is that your allies have a much shorter path to come and reinforce. It ended up being outnumbered for MVP. No ward for Expression to really look for a realistic teleport. Didn't have a Gnar Rage Bar either. So Longzhu end up once again seesawing the advantage slightly towards MVP. But all in all, very, very even at 23 minutes. Both teams have made mistakes. Does feel a bit like a 6th versus 8th matchup.
It's holding up to that expectation for sure. 1.4 thousand separating these guys at just 23 minutes. So still any team's game at this point. Longzhu with that double Drake are going to have the upper hand innately, but they need to equalize the turret count because right now it's 3-1.
Crucially, they're not team fight Drakes. Both teams have a team fight comp. When Expression was hovering over Fiora, we said it was going to be a 4-1. Now it is a true team fight comp, so we have to talk about the important variables. So far, Expression's done a good job.
Oh boy.
Getting a semblance of a lead. They don't know ADD's there, so that's fortunate for MVP.
Almost akin to some days play, as Cheeky sticking around in the brush, but not going to find the pinch this time, so it looks like he will be able to just safely recall out of there.
So while it wasn't a Fiora, Gnar vs Trundle is inherently a winning matchup for the Gnar, and he's doubled down on laning items. Black Cleaver and Frozen Mouth. This is literally, I've got health, I get some free resists in Mega Gnar form, but this is effectively, you can't enter lane against me, Trundle. I have the answer for the laning phase. Now, the answer to that is team fighting. They have Sivir, they have Initiation on the side of MVP, but Longzhu is still trying to warp the game. So this Gnar is effectively a better team fight than a Fiora, but right now at least has similar solo lane presence that a Fiora would at 24 minutes.
Yeah, but even with all that team fight prowess that MVP has been building up with themselves with that Trundle's build, it could be turned on its head very quickly by one well-placed Mega Gnar ultimate from Expression. So execution is going to be key from them. See if they're able to pull it off, but next Dragon coming up here in 35 seconds. Didn't quite catch which one it's going to be, so I guess we'll find out shortly.
Trundle Pillar, I think, is going to be even more consequential in this game. You look down the MVP lineup. If they do truly 5v5, the only ability they have to, from range, interrupt the Fury ultimate that's realistic. You're probably not going to be able to walk up as a Nivea and Q the Jhin, but the Trundle Pillar does have a large enough cast range that it's really the only ability they have to interrupt it. So ADD will have to be on form with that. Expression, once again, ADD cannot enter lane right now against the Trundle, so free turret over.
Yep, that's going to bring our gold lead really close now for MVP, just a couple hundred separating them. So it's going to be a rough spot. They're trying to make some picks or trying to get some poke down on the Chaser as he pushes in to take out that pink ward. Will win the fight. And now Longzhu very heavily grouped up in this mid. Not going to be able to get a push in. Wave clear, of course, is there from both Ian and Maha. So getting a siege onto that turret is going to be very difficult for them.
Jhin has good exclusive vision around the Ocean Drake. Ian can teleport down, but Anivia wants setup time. Very much a control mage right to Vladimir, so teleport plays are difficult. We're going to see the teleport.
This might work. Beyond goes in. It's going to be taken away by Chaser, who's able to find that one. Big cast comes through, knocking MVP into the wall. Now Expression pitching it from the back. Has that Narbar build up to half. Looks like MVP are just going to turn around, try to get onto him. It's going to be the Pro Belt used, and ADD all by his lonesome up in the front of the fight. Expression gets locked up by the Anivia. Looks like he barely might make it out of this one. He does, but he does help pick up a kill on the side of ADD. So both the top laner is going to be falling down. Now with the curtain call pop, going to be finding a kill onto Max. Can they find more? Wall comes out from Ian, will stop them from getting a hook in. But overall, it's a 2-for-1 pickup for Longzhu, plus a second Ocean Drake.
They are at the moment cheating towards mid lane and Baron. It's probably not Baron time for Longzhu, but certainly going to be the mid lane outer turret. It was a nice Gnar ultimate, but no other way for Longzhu to capitalize on it. Not able to chain both the Hemo Plague and the Gnar ult. But they still get a 2-for-1 trade. No one got anywhere near Fury. The ultimate wasn't able to be interrupted, and although I said MVP have this impressive teamfight comp, for now, when we're in the mid game, when the arm penetration stacking build from Fury is at its strongest, they need a way to interrupt or to contest this Jhin, and as you can see from this fight, they don't really have it.
Yep.
We're seeing the replay. Coco's just separated in the early game. Not much is happening, but you're worried because Expression's in the backline. Excellent rage bar. The two-man ult onto Max and Beyond. So not ideal target selection, but at the same time as ADD is occupying the backline, both frontliners die, and Fury channeling this ult. So much flat armor penetration. Maha actually times his spell shield to save him. But overall, you can see for now, if Longzhu gets those free autos from Fury, they're going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, and that helps turn around that gold lead in their favor. And 2 Ocean Drakes. It's going to be quite nice when it comes down to knocking down those towers. Duskblade and the Yomus have been completed here for Fury. Now with the BF Sword and that pickaxe in the inventory, looking for the Infinity Edge, it would seem, with that +5 AD. So he's going to be hitting really hard.
Interesting, I think we saw Arrow and other Jin players 2 days ago on 6-11 going for Last Whisper or another Dirk in this spot,
It
maybe
could still be a Last
more
Whisper.
Malmortius. It's heavily looking like Infinity Edge, which got buffed, but there's a Frozen Heart already completed, and now the Warden's Mail onto the Trundle. So I think Last Whisper, with the buff it received, the extra 10 AD, would be really massive at this spot.
Yep. We might have a skirmish over this blue buff. Will be taken away by MVP. Beyond has to smite it, which means that Ian won't have it for himself. And we'll be able to back off, and ADD is just trying to do what he can to save this turn against Expression, because he's just getting chunked down. Finally can move up as Expression does get forced into the Mega Gnar. But he has a very considerable lead right now, 53 CS over top of this Trundle.
Yeah, level under, and the item disparity means that ADD can just farm under turret. You will mostly watch this turret chip down to free autos from Expression, so not ideal for MVP. Honestly, everyone's collectively holding their breaths, waiting for the 5v5. Looked like there was going to be one around Baron, but for now, everyone backs away.
Just going to take some time, take a breather here for the side of Longzhu. Have been making really good proactive plays recently, and they're actually going to continue the trend as they go into this Baron. There's no vision from the side of MVP. Beyond is roaming up here. We'll spot them with the Tremor Sense, and Longzhu going to play it safe and go ahead and peel off of that objective. So good game sense by MVP. They move up, and their presence will stop that take. That could have been devastating. Meanwhile, Expression going hard onto ADD in the bot side. Gets the stuns in, chunks him down below half.
Doesn't have kill pressure, now has used the Gnar ultimate on a short cooldown with the 20% CDR from the Black Cleaver, but not ideal. The kill pressure not quite there under turret at the moment for Expression. Gonna have to really heavily rely on the Tremor Sense MVP when it comes to getting wards around the Baron, specifically because they only have a single blue trinket, and the double pinks have been sticking from Longzhu.
Well, they're still playing around this Baron. Looks like they're going to go ahead and start this one up. Coco's already been on it as he gets chunked down to half, but be able to make that up very quickly with the transfusion. Beyond starting to roam back up, walks over that trap from the Jin.
They don't know what health it's at, now they do.
Yeah, this Baron's already down below half. Wall comes through from Ian, keeping Chaser stuck into the pit. Takes the Lantern out, Max up in the front line. Glacial Pitch comes through, does find Pure. Beyond goes in, gets the pop-up in onto the Thresh. They will be able to burn him out. Ian finds the kill, but the cast comes through, and Beyond gets knocked right into the back line of Longzhu. They take him out with relative ease. Now the curtain call pop. The shots coming through, trying to find Max. ADD will eat the last one as he takes down Coco. It's a 2-for-1 so far from MVP. They stop the Baron, so they definitely come out on top of this one. ADD going to be taking a little bit of damage off the backside of this, but Expression not going to be able to do anything else.
Yeah, Expression teleported in, had no rage bar at all on the Gnar, wasn't impacting, it was in mini Gnar form the whole time. We're going to see the replay. It's hard initiate by MVP. They got the first teleport as well. It was a defensive teleport from the Trundle, but they just focused down Pure in the front line after hitting the CC from the Anivia. And again, this fight was all about hitting who's in front of you. In this case, it was Coco. Tried to invite damage, died to the second half of the Trundle ult.
Yeah, and that was just him not respecting Ian. Walks straight forward into that flash freeze. He gets bursted out, goes down to the same green pool.
And the reason why the positioning was so off from Longzhu was that Chaser had to be lanterned out of the Baron. The wall came down from Anivia, who walked up. They had to use the lantern just to get Chaser from taking Baron damage, and they were kind of all at sea in terms of positioning around that Baron.
You know, I didn't really spot that. I don't think Coco used his Zhong's Hours class.
Not sure if he had it completed then, but if he did...
No, he's had it, because now he has the needlessly large rod in the inventory. I don't think he got to use it, so... But a misplay there, should have popped that as soon as he got into the sanguine pool. But even then, more than likely would have went down as Pure would not be there to throw a lantern and take him to safety.
You are in a weird spot with Zhonya's. It was buffed in terms of build path, no longer expensive building out the needless large rod. But 120-second cooldown means that you don't always have it for the next fight. Yeah. It was probably an oversight, but there is now edge cases where with the change from 90 seconds to 120 seconds, you have to be a bit more creative with that cooldown instead of just using it every time you fight.
Sure. So there was the Infinity Edge there for Fury. We'll see where he wants to go now, if it's going to be the Last Whisper to come out as the fourth item.
He desperately needs a Last Whisper. He's against Randuin's Frozen Heart now, so...
Definitely needs to be getting to that front line. It's going to be our third Ocean Drake of the game here, started up by Longzhu. And having damage coming through, Fury's going to take that Lantern out to safety. Chaser getting pressured in. W will come through from the Jin. Only roots down ADD, and now MVP have a fast track to push in onto this Dragon. Potentially just go for a smite war. ADD is trying to push up in this front line, deny this as best as he can. It will be taken away as Maha confirms the Drake. It looks like MVP are going to be satisfied with that objective and just go ahead and peel back.
Not a lot of pick CC for MVP. They weren't going to be hitting an Anivia Flash Frost in that area, so they'll take the Drake back away. It was an auto attack after Beyond smited, so a little bit concerning that he missed the smite. They'll cheat towards top. They've had to watch as Longzhu had exclusive vision around Baron for about the last 5 to 8 minutes, so finally MVP has vision of their own, but don't really have any true Baron threat. They're actually a very poor team at taking Baron. We're so used to seeing the Cassiopeias of the world when it comes to Baron taking, but Nivea's certainly not in the same weight class when it comes to taking down neutral.
Or the Azir.
It's true.
They just can't burn that out nearly as quickly.
They got the front line, but not the damage. Sivir, good on her own, but no one else to help her out.
Well, MVP do pick up their first Drake, the Ocean, and more crucially, deny a third Ocean Drake over from the side of Longzhu.
So important, those Baron standoffs when you look for the ward, you disengage, the fact that you can sit back for a couple of seconds, regen large swaths of your health, and specifically mana, because you're going to be always going to be fishing for stuns and picks around Baron. The Ocean can make a big difference around Barons and Elder Drakes.
Now Expression just using that range power with the Frozen Mallet. Get himself over top of ADD, chunks him out a little bit, but does back off. Guardian Angel completed for the Gnar, so that's going to be potentially crucial in the smites if he gets popped early and can come back in, get a big stun off.
I mean, Guardian Angel's just such a zero-sum item right now, just from its build path, building so much armor and magic resist, and the fact that it was buffed in terms of how much health it gives you. It's just a cost-effective, slot-effective item. Gnar, at the end of the day, is either going to get a great Gnar ultimate or be pretty much a non-factor in the fight, so I don't know if the revive is as significant as in other games, but as you can tell from the last couple of weeks of Champions, we're seeing more and more Guardian Angels in every game. We're averaging 3 to 4 at this point.
Yeah, it's been pretty ridiculous, the game of just no one ever dying. I think it was the Samsung KT game where we had like maybe 5 collected Guardian Angels. Is it all we need now is a zillion,
hey,
and then it's a real party.
Hey, you turn back the clock to Season 2, the season everyone loves to remember. I don't know if they were watching the CLG EU games or the M5. Everyone has a Guardian Angel, including the Thresh days.
Ah, the good old days. I miss M5.
That's fair. That players are still around.
Yeah, I mean, got Diamond playing on a challenger team in North America, of all places. Not where I thought that he was going to wind up, but
it's a funny old game.
That team's name is Apex Pride. I get that it's like a lion, but it just feels really weird to me.
It's fair.
It's an odd name.
Longzhu once again seesawing their way into Baron control. Pretty quiet last few minutes. Only the Dragon Steel to speak of. When we're getting to the ultra late game scaling, Vladimir Jin certainly has a lot of power, but the teamfight answers in the Trundle Pillar and the Anivia Wall are there, so it's going to honestly be on the teamfight acumen of these two teams. Expression to me is the wild card. Do you get the massive Gnar ultimate on 3 members, chain it into Hemoplague and just kill everyone?
Will you be Majestic?
Yeah, will you be Majestic or will you be garbage? That's what we're going to find out.
So far he's been teetering more towards Majestic. 0, 2, and 5 is not that bad of a scoreline. TPing in though without any Gnar bar. That's pretty garbage.
What's in the middle of Majestic and garbage, Kilios? Aight.
Aight? Yeah,
all
just
right.
aight.
Not pronounced alright. It's aight only. So.
How's your Gnar? Aight.
I'm hoping that's not what Expression said in Champion Select.
The coach just... Expression, can you play this? Aight.
That'd be weird to say in a Korean voice chat, but okay. I'll remember it that way.
Max just wanted to hop closer to that root. Not able to find the Winter's bite, and it's just going to be really slowed down now for both of these teams.
Gnar is really pushed up with no vision. In general, Longzhu this game has very poor vision, a couple of wards around the Baron, and nothing else to speak of. Again, one of the reasons I don't like this Gnar pick against Trundle, even with the on-paper great matchup, is your team has to play around it or you lose a lot of the power. He's pushing without vision, and although you could say a couple people show up bottom, do Baron, one of those people could be Rek'Sai, who could easily just teleport over. Anivia has teleport as well. They could 3-man gank the Gnar and then rotate and answer a Baron very easily. So for now, very risky play from Expression, but probably not going to be punished.
Still suffering a lot of HP, especially as he's getting ready to go into this Mega Gnar. Will be the time for Trundle to take advantage. Has used the Subjugate already. Just trying to push on him as much as he can. Will be the jump away into the slow. Expression desperately needs to keep that Guardian Angels up on himself.
Ult from ADD being down is relevant to team fights, but the rest of his team's
back up.
Not in position. As you mentioned, the cooldown reduction means that it's going to be up soon.
Still coming online here from Maha. Has since completed the Mortal Reminder. Let's see where he wants to go, because we've seen Sivers do a bunch of different things. The Bloodthirster, an item that's often come out. There's a rare occasion last split where we did see the Trinity Force.
Big difference between the two teams.
Oh, I thought he took that away for a second.
Is the armor penetration completion. We do see the rapid fire cannon from Fury as a fourth item, so he's really sticking with going for more traditional items, not picking up the recently buffed Mortal Reminder or Lord Dominic's Regard. Jhin, to me, his power level is directly proportional to the strength of the enemy tank line, and Trundle and Rek'Sai are very powerful at this point. Yep. Speaking of power plays, MVP's going for one of their own.
Yeah, they TP this one in. Longzhu coming nearby to try to check this out. They will spot them. There should be MVP backing off, especially as that teleport comes in from Expression. Doesn't have anything on the Narvar. EDD gets grabbed up by that hook. Will be pulled into the box, and Longzhu just trying to pinch in from the top of that Gnar. Curtain call is going to be opened up. Max takes the first shot. The second one as well. Half the body block the rest of these, or he will go down. Big chunk off of Ian. And that might be Longzhu sticking around to try to take out this Baron. Everybody on their side really healthy.
Really optimistic start by MP. They don't have a fast Baron. They now open up Longzhu to go for a Baron of their own. They've cleared out vision. Baron's coming down. It's at 7,000. Expression is going to be transforming into that Mega Gnar. A big front line beyond on the backside of the pit. Might be looking to go in for the steal. He's in vision, so Longzhu have full information. Starting to regen. Big chunk out onto Fury from Ian. That's going to be the boomerang going forward. Not going to find the connection. Expression Gnar ulting him back, but they're still sticking on top of him. He has to flash over the wall. Now Coco might be the target. Big shield comes out from the Seraph's Embrace from Ian, trying to get through that Hemo Plague, but it drops a little bit too soon. It gets chunked out, and MVP are really going to have to back off this one. The question is, does Longzhu back off, or do they stick around? Seems like MVP are the ones that are going to clear out vision. Baron is re-aggroed. Beyond's going to back, has the ability to Rek'Sai ult. Anivia can also teleport in, so MVP could go for the Reforce, and Longzhu will have less teleports to get back in. Looks like they might be doing that, trying to get onto Coco, who goes straight into the segment pool. Will take that Lantern out to safety. Expression now going to be the one targeted out. Uses the hop, doesn't have the flash, gets knocked up. Guardian Angel looks like it might be going down. One last jump, they will be able to pop that one. Coco getting chunked out, almost gets stunned up by the concussive blows. He's going to try to get out of this one. Expression might just be the sacrificial Yordle. He will go down. Ian finds the kill, and AD not done yet. Has that GA of his own. Says, you know what, I can stick around in the front lines, but MVP uses the call to go ahead and back off. The question is, do they go for the Baron? Looks like they're going to start this one up, but Longzhu's members that are here are still very healthy. But the cooldowns aren't there. No Gragas ultimate, no Hemo Plague, no box. They're going to try and rush it down. He's going to have to try to go in for the seal. Can he get it? No, it's going to be confirmed by Beyond. Takes the Lantern out. Chaser will stay alive, but the Baron confirmed finally comes in here from MVP at 41.5 minutes. So MVP thought out that scenario like a veteran team. They started Baron, and I was like, why are they doing this? But of course, it forced both ADD and Expression to teleport over. No teleport advantage, no Expression free hitting the Trundle, so that's one headache gone. They both get chunked out, and of course MVP, they have two teleports, Rek'Sai and Anivia being able to get straight back in. They fight over the Baron, very smartly taken. They take the Baron, and now with the Elder Drake up, they're in position to take that as well. Yeah, this would be a pretty crucial takeaway as there are 3 buffs on the side of Longzhu. You can see ADD going into the back, using that pillar to stop them from advancing, and that will be the Elder Dragon going over to MVP. So now having both of these massive global objectives, question is, what can they do? What can they take on the map? Because they need to make plays, and they need to do it now. I just love seeing new teams think out a scenario so smartly. They cancel out the globals. They have a global advantage. They force down Baron in a very assertive manner. The cooldown's not there for Longzhu, as we noted. And now they have such a massive lead. They're going to take another inner turret. MVP thought their way through a really prickly situation, and they want to extend their game-winning spree to 5. Yep. Taking down that tier 2 in the mid side and the top as ADD continues to push in. So really netting themselves a solid gold lead here at the 43-minute mark. Ian as well taking away that blue buff. MVP are making full use of these buffs to just rip out everything from Longzhu's grasp. 5,000, 6,000 gold at 43 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually the first time we've seen a sizable lead between these two teams. we've kind of been spoiled because recently, in the last 5 series or so, it's been 10-0, 11-0 game ones. This has been a very close one. MVP had control of it at the start. Longzhu ran away with it, but MVP in one play has really opened up the game, and now they finally have breathing room over Longzhu.
Yeah, all of the outer towers taken here by MVP as they continue to push forward and try to siege up onto these inhibitor turrets, have those Baron-empowered minions pushing through, as well as the Ocean Drake. 50% increase from that Elder Dragon.
Still less Ocean Drake than Longzhu, it's worth noting.
But still in a very good spot. So at that point, Longzhu, you're more likely to roam back to the fountain. See the curtain call though, going to be opened up on the Ian. Gets hooked in. Can they confirm the kill? The egg is there to keep him alive. The Killboy comes down, and it looks like he might not be getting out of this one alive. He does not. Jhin finding the first kill. Beyond chunked out as well. Has to tunnel away, and ADD barely going to miss getting rooted by that W from the Jhin. Expansion still hot on the chase. The boomerang comes through, does slow up Beyond, but the pillar comes down, and that should keep the Rek'Sai safe. The rest of MVP retreating down that bottom lane. Just going to lose Ian for it, but that's one less Baron buff on the side of MVP.
Ian not respecting the Gragas meant that he got really screwed up, looking for auto attacks on that inhibitor turret. Too greedy when you don't have flash available as Anivia dies through the passive. We're going to see the replay. Ian feels like he can take autos, but in fact it's the root coming through from Jhin, so really nicely done. It's going to be the hook, all the rest of the CC. Anivia taken out, and a 5v4, even with all the buffs, it's not a scenario MVP can take.
Yeah, and even just the W pop from the Jhin did a significant amount of damage. It's about 10% of the Anivia's HP, and now we can see with that pick, a massive amount of waves here gone. Longzhu is starting to push up into this mid lane, trying to get some picks. ADP going to pop the subjugate. Moving forward, regenerating a lot of HP. Can they find a pick? Teleport's almost available for Ian if they can find a flank ward and make a massive play. It's getting ready to come up now. Longzhu retreating down through the river. Big ward in the bottom lane with the pink. He might be able to make a move for that one. ADD trying to get on to Pure. Go for it. They get the knockup. Pure's going to go down. ADD jumping him out. Still playing up in that front line. The pillar down. Fury getting really slowed up. And now the TP channeling from that Anivia has the flank. Here comes Chaser. Walls him off. Keeps him contained next to the rest of MVP. He does body slam over. Looks like they might not be able to get any more kills. Just going to be the Thresh going down, but this could open them to take out this first inhibitor tower in the bottom side.
They're a little bit slow on pulling the trigger on the teleport play. They're going to tank up this inhibitor turret and take it though, so still going to get a big objective from this. The minion wave being proxied by Chaser doesn't matter when you have a super tank Trundle and Rek'Sai frontline. They take the inhibitor, but there could be some exit kills here for Longzhu.
Well, they use the curtain call, but they're going to go ahead and cancel that one out. Fury just looking for the refund on the cooldown. Beyond getting rooted as he goes through. Will be able to tunnel off to safety. So nicely played here by MVP. Lose Ian, fire back, pick up a kill, and now an inhibitor in the bottom side.
Anivia was kind of caught in two minds. Ian could have stayed in base for about 10 seconds and teleported in. Wasn't sure he'd have wards. And of course, there was no guarantee that Longzhu would kite towards the one pink ward that was in a really nice flank position. But the moment they started to, it felt like Ian could have been more decisive. They waited for a call, clearly. They didn't try and feel out the play. They waited for the call, which meant that it wasn't to full effectiveness, but in a macro sense, they pick up the inhibitor. They pick up the inhibitor turret, even though they didn't have the minion wave in the best spot. And now when the next Baron spawns, there will be a downed inhibitor on the other side of the map for Longzhu.
Yeah. Really good setup here from MVP. In the meantime, Fury, we see the Lord Dominic's regard for him finally starting to do some real damage, Beyond especially taking a bunch. Steric's Gage barely helping him stay alive in that last exchange where he saved Ian's life, or tried to save Ian's life, rather.
Contend that the Lord Dominic's regard was a couple of items late, but right now, of course, he's very, very powerful in his build. Until Guardian Angel is completed on both frontliners, Beyond is actually super tanky, but can die even through the Steric's Gage and the Randuin's Omen.
MVP, though, not trying to waste any time. Have that wave getting ready to crash in the bottom side. Moving up. They're going to go ahead and sit up in the mid, try to get some damage in onto that tower. Mog gets a couple swings in. We'll chunk it down about a third. Wave clear coming through from Longzhu.
Chase is really going to look for Ian in particular to overextend for auto attacks. He has flash this time, so he can flash the explosive cask, but Ian is the one person that realistically can be caught on the side of MVP.
Chaser moves forward, takes a little bit of damage, and now we can see that double.
Okay, he ulted in vision, so
yeah, okay.
That tells you that Longzhu really don't want to be fighting. Short cooldown, but doing that in vision is a window that MVP can play around.
Trying to keep that wave from crashing into the base, stave off this extended siege from MVP. Looks like it might have worked, as they do go ahead and back off. Baron spawning now in 12 seconds. MVP certainly want to get ready for that with vision control.
Yeah, full build Anivia versus full build Vladimir. It does feel like one of those another eerie scenarios where it's hard to see how Coco will really get value out of the AoE from the Vladimir. Trundle Pillar, they outlined them in the champion select, but the Anivia also is Maha's hooked.
Yeah, gets a hook there into the Sivir, gets bursted out. Wow, Pure just blowing up. Meanwhile, MVP was taking the Baron, and now ADD really far forward, just gonna lose that Guardian Angel. He's gonna go down. This could be a Baron pickup for Longzhu.
It's gonna be a free Baron, no way to contest this. Ult started, they don't actually have any vision. They wonder if the Baron's being taken. They'll be surprised to see it. Full health and regen, but massive positioning mistake from Maha. We haven't said that since the promotion series, Achilles, but he should have been around the Baron, defensively minded. MVP did not 5-man commit to the Baron. Even if they're having people act as goalkeepers, keeping people away, it's not the Sivir for sure to be the one around the enemy Raptor camp, and that's a really big penalty to take for MVP.
Yeah, wow, take another look at this one. Maha just trying to pressure out Coco, just cannot see the Thresh.
It's a really weird split. It's 3 and 2, but the 3 and 2 should include the one person on MVP's team that actually does Baron damage, which of course is the Sivir. So Sivir's caught out. Pure was a really nice hook from Pure out of vision, but really strange. You're not really going to be able to sneak out a Baron in that scenario, and Sivir especially.
Super greedy from MVP, and they pay for it significantly. ADD losing that Guardian Angel especially going to be harmful to them, and now the tier 2 going down in mid, as Longzhu is making use of this Baron buff as best as they can. Expression has to hang back throughout the super minion wave that has been moving forward into the bottom side, but has TP available.
I'm not going to ult this wave.
Probably not.
People just walk up, they don't want to.
That's on the hunt pop. They're trying to make something happen as they try to get on the chaser. Jump will come through, which is not going to connect though, so they can't find a slow, they can't find a root. And now Longzhu might be able to turn this one around. Randall Woods Omen does get popped. ADD looks like he's going to be able to retreat safely. Chaser gets chunked out, but still has a GA and still has that innate sustain from the W on the Gragas.
The ult on a short cooldown for Maha, so they just want to create pressure. They don't want a scenario where Expression can free clear minions and MVP are getting pushed in the mid lane. So they want to have pressure on the map for when the Elder Drake spawns, which will be in a minute and a half. I believe Baron buff will have about 20 to 30 seconds still up by the time that fight can occur around the Elder Drake.
It's a Leandries for Ian. I just noticed that.
Same thing, Faker built this as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has a lot of synergy with the ultimate, because when you have a CC on you, you take the longer duration of the maximum HP burn. So it's always been a very nice core item on Anivia. Don't see it on anyone else, though. Well, you see it on Rob.
A couple times. Chaser though in a really bad spot. The wall comes through. They just lock him up. GA will get popped. And they finalize the kill. He used the cask, so no way to disengage. Looks like the Grog is just going to go down. Nicely played. And a good pickup there from MVP. Now we'll be able to clear out this wave in the top side, keep that tier 2 tower alive. And with picks like that, they're keeping themselves in this game, not letting that Baron throw be the death of them.
Yeah, but not quite the same objective to pick up from what you say was a very clean pick. It was actually team effort required. They had Anivia wall Gragas about 100 units away from the Lantern, and then beyond dashed on top of it just to stop it from being as easily clickable. So team effort, they get the pick. They should be able to take the Elder Drake as well, but it's only a single Drake buff, the single ocean they have, so it's not the massive payoff. It's more of a denial away from Longzhu.
Yeah, especially for that big damage burn that they would get with that triple dragon that they have for themselves. So they go ahead and start this one up. Chaser still 25 seconds out, so this should be a relatively easy take here from the side of MVP, but they are more than likely draining that top tier 2 tower. It's already been chunked out. Jin is right there with it. We'll be able to burn that one through, especially meanwhile creating some good pressure in the mid side. That's going to draw out the teleport straight in here from Ian. So not going to be able to answer with a TP should something happen if he's split pushing.
So Longzhu have definitely learned from their over-pursual of the Elder Drake in the match against Rocks Tigers, where they opted into Elder Drake and were answered by a Baron and lost the game. Here they realize, well, they're going to get an Elder Drake, not a lot of value in a single ocean Elder Drake, and they just go for harassing of turrets. And drawing out a teleport from the enemy team is probably more consequential than MVP actually securing the Elder Drake, such as the fact that we're 53 minutes in, a single pick from a teleport from a missed position will decide the game.
Well, you said a single pick. ADD roaming up into this brush, does not see all of Longzhu waiting for him around the corner. He gets chunked out, throws at the subjugate, but there's just nothing that he can do. Fury finds the kill. Nicely played by Longzhu.
And MVP need to make something happen with such a long death timer, 70 seconds still. They're going to try and push and take this inhibitor. It starts the recalls, not Vladimir, who recalls late, but they just want to make sure they get something on the map and just don't lose everything. And they do take this inhibitor back away. They've got Sivir, so they have a lot of insurance on the escape. Expression's going to look to try and stop their recalls. Doesn't want to pass over a free kill or even just his Guardian Angel.
Yep.
So MVP, get in, get out.
Nicely played. Use on the hunt for the retreat. So they do pick up that in exchange for ADD's life.
I mean, it's the world's shortest cooldown on the On the Hunt.
It's very true.
ADD still 30 seconds. This game has crept up on us. Been certainly periods of domination for MVP, then a nice mid-game for Longzhu. MVP looked like they were going to take out the game comfortably from there, made some nice rotations around Baron. But it's now all up in the air. 2 minutes till the next Baron. Hard to see how the team that takes the next Baron doesn't win the game.
Well, it's Longzhu. I've seen some long ones from these guys. They listen for that name. 76 minutes against CJ Entis. Now at 54. So we'll see if they want to threaten that number.
6 items on basically everyone. Supports have a pink ward slot, but apart from that, actually, I tell a lie. Thresh wants to finish the Zeke's Herald as his last item. Only has Glacial Shroud and the infantry. Could be a Frozen Heart as well, I guess.
Well, MVP grouping up into this mid side. Still have the super creeps moving up in the bot. Expression completely well engaged, taking care of those. Has teleport available. Should a fight break out?
Wave clear's not instant from Longzhu. They have to be proactive. They have to get there early. They would have perhaps had to explosive cast if the minion wave gotten closer just to get rid of the minions, but happily for them, the minion wave is still pushing up.
Expression building up that Gnar bar. Almost has it completed. Needs to get a little bit more damage in. And there we go. He does have it available to pop. Has flash as well. Could make a big hero play. Transforms. Now all MVP need to do is try to wait this one out.
I don't think he wanted to commit to anything there. Because flashes are up on both Anivia and Sivir, there's too many answers for the Gnar Rage Bar. And in fact, getting into Mega Gnar form at that point was actually crucial because he finally gets AoE wave clear in his Boulder Smash ability. Better than the Boomerang Toss in that particular scenario.
Yeah, the waves are going to keep crashing in, and now Baron spawning in 13 seconds. The waves are moved this far forward to the Nexus Towers. They could lose one if they fight over that Baron, which they absolutely need to do.
His vision could tell a story, but Ian doesn't have teleport available. So perhaps it's a little bit less consequential. No one's got the sort of complete vision around Baron to make it a realistic objective. So for now, it's all pretty equalized. Frozen Heart completed for Thresh. We 6 items now, boys.
Well, just 30 seconds left on that TP there from Ian, just about. So we'll have it pretty soon. Now it's all going to be about tiptoeing around this objective. As you mentioned, pretty much the team that nets this should win the game. Ward comes over the wall from the side of Longzhu, especially trying to build that Gnar bar as best he can, but I don't think he has enough time. He has to get there ASAP. This thing's being burned down. He hasn't even channeled the TP. They're going to go ahead, surrender this one over. Now teleporting in, has it to about 60% of the Gnar bar. Glacial Fisher comes out, pops up Coco, takes a bunch of damage. So down that Hemo Plague. Expression comes in. Can he get the transform? Gets his GA pop before he can cast the ultimate. MVP need to really position now. Only finds Beyond into the wall. He's hopping away, trying to get to safety. Coco using that Proto Belt to try and create more distance, but MVP are really chasing. The pillar comes down, locks 2 members out of that path. They come forward, they find Expression in Pure, but a big stun comes through from the Gnar. Doesn't matter, Ian is able to fire back, take out the Thresh. Pillar not going to cut him off this time. Beyond goes over the wall with the tunnel. Can he find a pop-up? Doesn't look like it. Expression will be able to jump his way back to safety, but MVP coming out with a pick, knocking down the GA, and now possibly a second inhibitor in the mid.
Yeah, the extra options they had through the Sivir ultimate meant they could get a fight. In fact, they had the Sivir ultimate up again, such as its short cooldown. Only Thresh is down. This is risky. 5v4 against both of the Nexus turrets for Longzhu.
Lots of Baron-empowered minions in here. The wall comes through onto Coco, takes a huge chunk of damage as he goes into the Sanguine Pool. Looks like Chaser might be the first one that falls as GA does get popped, especially hopping to the other side of the Nexus, trying to keep himself alive. Coco regenning with the transfusion, but it doesn't matter. There's so much power, so many minions, and MVP off of a free Baron from Longzhu take out game one.
Longzhu didn't really feel like they juggled their tools effectively. No, just wave clearing, didn't have any rage bar, would then have to ult early. At least if he teleported early, he could have had some pressure. It would have still have been a 4,000 health Yordle with the ability to check, with the ability to harass, but instead was just bottom lane. We're going to see the damage delta champions. Predictably in a long game, Sivir is the one that puts out the most damage. Although Jhin was competitive, because the last Whisper was late, you get to this late game teamfight scenario where no one can really be picked by the Jhin. Even if someone gets rooted, they're not going to die if it's Trundle or Rek'Sai, the only two champions who are going to walk up. And that's where the armor penetration build from Jhin is outscaled by the more reliable build from Sivir. It's going to build attack speed, attack damage, critical strike, bounce the ricochets, and hit the backline. Jhin takes a couple of ricochet hits, even if they're the third or fourth bounce. He's going to be chunked out. And just in a late-game team fight with super tank frontline, Jhin really doesn't do much. And this is why, in the world where Maokai was the staple top laner and Poppy was the other top laner, you didn't see any Jhin because Jhin couldn't get through them. MVP drafted those champions. They answered the Jhin effectively. The mid-game got through, I guess, a little bit under par for MVP, but enough. And then the ultra-late game, that's where Jhin just didn't have the same options.
Yeah, wow. Well, we thought it was going to be a close game, and we were very much correct. Reached about 58 minutes at the end of that one, and very much juggled back and forth. Massive misplay at the Baron there from MVP. Maha getting caught by the Thresh, by the Raptor Pit, and then able to switch it right back around. Longzhu not teleporting in, not taking hold of that Baron, and now they suffer for it. But a very close first game, definitely going to be a close rest of this series, I think, and we could go to game three.
I mean, it was definitely a game that was, to me, defined by the mistakes, aside from that one excellent play around the Baron by MVP. They made their mistakes, both teams did, but Longzhu made more. MVP made that smart, decisive call around Baron to re-engage with their teleports on Rek'Sai and Anivia. Took the Baron, and that was the only true swing in what was otherwise a pretty even game.
Yeah, very close throughout the latter half of that one. MVP was in pretty firm control to start things off, but even then, gold lead was never really more than a couple thousand. It wasn't until after that first Baron that we saw it really start to stretch. We're going to find out what happens when we come back for game two, though. Will MVP close it out, or will Longzhu take us to a three-game set? We'll be back in just a few minutes.